April 13, 2022. Black Sea, 65 miles south of Odessa. The Russian guided missile cruiser Moskva, flagship of the Black Sea Fleet, burns. 12,500 tons. 510 crew. 16 anti-ship missiles. 64 S-300 air defense missiles. The most powerful surface combatant Russia has in the Black Sea. On fire, listing, sinking. Ukrainian Neptune missiles struck the ship hours earlier. 2 hits. The missile magazine detonated. Fire spread uncontrollably. By morning, Moskva is gone. The flagship of Russia's Black Sea Fleet lies on the ocean floor. This is just the beginning. Over the next 2 years, Ukraine systematically destroys Russia's Black Sea Fleet, not with submarines, not with aircraft carriers, with drones, missiles, asymmetric warfare. By late 2024, Russia has lost over 40 warships, sunk, damaged beyond repair, or forced to retreat from Sevastopol. A country with almost no navy just won one of the most decisive naval campaigns in modern history. Let's break down how Ukraine did it. February 2022. Russia invades Ukraine. The Black Sea Fleet is supposed to dominate. Russia has approximately 80 warships in the Black Sea, frigates, corvettes, landing ships, submarines, minesweepers, support vessels. Ukraine has effectively 0 operational warships. Their navy was destroyed or captured during the 2014 annexation of Crimea. A few patrol boats, no cruisers, no destroyers, no frigates. On paper, this is a massacre. Russia controls the sea. Ukraine can't contest it. Russia's plan: use naval dominance to support the ground invasion. Amphibious landings near Odessa. Naval gunfire support. Blockade Ukrainian ports. Project power along the coast. The Black Sea Fleet would be unstoppable. Except it wasn't. Ukraine had something Russia didn't expect: anti-ship missiles and the willingness to use them. The Neptune missile, Ukrainian designed, based on the Soviet Kh-35, subsonic, sea-skimming, active radar homing. Range, approximately 180 miles. Ukraine had a small number of Neptune batteries, truck-mounted, mobile, hidden along the coast. Russia knew Ukraine had anti-ship missiles, but they assumed Ukrainian coastal defenses would be quickly destroyed by airstrikes and artillery. They were wrong. Ukrainian forces dispersed the Neptune batteries, moved constantly, hid in forests and urban areas. Russia couldn't find them. And then Ukraine waited. The Moskva operated off the coast of Odessa. Its mission: air defense for the fleet. The ship's S-300 missiles provided coverage for Russian amphibious operations. It was also a symbol, the flagship, the most powerful ship. Sinking it would be a massive psychological blow. Ukrainian intelligence tracked Moskva's movements. The ship operated in a predictable pattern. Same patrol route, same distance from shore. On April 13th, conditions were perfect. Rough seas, limited visibility. Moskva's radar operators were focused on air threats, not sea-skimming missiles. Ukraine launched 2 Neptune missiles, low altitude, sea-skimming to avoid radar detection. Moskva's defenses failed. The missiles hit. One struck near the waterline. The second hit the superstructure. The impact ignited stored missiles. The magazine detonated. Fire spread through the ship. Moskva's crew tried to save the ship. They failed. The fire was too intense. Ammunition cooked off. Secondary explosions ripped through the hull. Russia claimed the ship sank due to a fire in rough seas. They denied Ukrainian missiles hit it. Satellite imagery and crew accounts proved otherwise. Ukraine sunk the flagship. The loss was catastrophic for Russia, not just militarily, but psychologically. The mighty Russian Navy defeated by a country without a navy. But Ukraine wasn't done. After Moskva, Russia pulled its fleet back. Ships no longer operated close to shore. Amphibious operations were canceled. The fleet stayed near Sevastopol under the protection of coastal air defense. Ukraine couldn't reach them with Neptune missiles. Sevastopol was 200-plus miles from Ukrainian-controlled territory. So Ukraine developed a new weapon: sea drones, unmanned surface vessels, USVs small, fast boats packed with explosives, remote-controlled, expendable. Ukraine built them in secret, modified civilian speedboats and jet skis, added warheads, installed remote control systems and cameras. Each drone cost approximately $250,000, a fraction of the cost of a missile. And they worked. October 2022, Sevastopol Harbor, Russian warships at anchor, protected by booms, nets, and patrol boats. Ukrainian sea drones attacked, multiple drones, coordinated assault. The frigate Admiral Makarov was damaged. A minesweeper was hit. The harbor's defenses were breached. Russia was shocked. Drones attacking a heavily defended naval base? Impossible. Except it happened. Ukraine refined the tactic. More drones, better tactics, improved coordination. By 2023, Ukrainian sea drones were hitting Russian ships regularly. The landing ship Olenogorsky Gornyak, hit by a sea drone, severely damaged. The tanker Sig, hit, damaged. The patrol boat Sergei Kotov, hit, sunk. Each attack demonstrated Ukrainian innovation. Russia's Black Sea Fleet was under siege in its own harbor. Russia tried countermeasures, patrol boats to intercept drones, nets and barriers in the harbor, electronic warfare to jam drone control signals. Ukraine adapted, improved drone autonomy, added AI-guided terminal navigation, increased speed and range. The drones evolved faster than Russia could counter them. By mid-2024, Russia's Black Sea Fleet was crippled. Ships stayed in port. Operations were minimal. The fleet that was supposed to dominate the Black Sea was hiding in Sevastopol. And then Ukraine escalated. Storm Shadow and Scalp missiles. British and French long-range cruise missiles supplied to Ukraine. Range, 250-plus miles. Stealth, precision strike. Ukraine used them to hit Sevastopol directly. The shipyard, repair facilities, dry docks. September 2023. Storm Shadow missiles struck Sevastopol shipyard. The Kilo-class submarine Rostov-on-Don was in dry dock for repairs. Direct hit, the submarine was destroyed, along with the dry dock. A second Kilo submarine, Minsk, was damaged in the same strike. Russia lost 2 submarines in one attack. Sevastopol was no longer safe. Russia began withdrawing ships from Crimea, relocating the fleet to Novorossiysk on the eastern coast of the Black Sea. This was a strategic defeat. Sevastopol is Russia's primary naval base in the Black Sea. Losing it as a viable operating location fundamentally changed the naval balance. Ukraine achieved what seemed impossible. They forced Russia's Black Sea Fleet to abandon Crimea. Let's look at the kill list. As of late 2024, Ukraine has sunk or severely damaged over 40 Russian vessels. Major losses include Moskva, cruiser, flagship, sunk by Neptune missiles, April 2022. Saratov, Alligator-class landing ship, destroyed by Ukrainian strike in Berdyansk, March 2022. Vasily Bek, rescue tug, sunk by Harpoon missiles, June 2022. Admiral Makarov, frigate, damaged by sea drone, October 2022. Olenogorsky Gornyak, landing ship, damaged by sea drone, 2023. Sergei Kotov, patrol boat, sunk by sea drones, March 2024. Rostov-on-Don, Kilo-class submarine, destroyed in Sevastopol dry dock, September 2023. Minsk Kilo-class submarine, damaged in Sevastopol dry dock, September 2023. Cesar Kunikov, landing ship, sunk by sea drones, February 2024. Ivanovets, corvette, sunk by sea drones, February 2024. This is a partial list. Dozens of smaller vessels were also hit: minesweepers, patrol boats, landing craft, support ships. In total, Russia has lost approximately 30% of its Black Sea Fleet's combat capability. But the real number is higher when you account for ships damaged and withdrawn from service. Ships relocated to Novorossiysk that are no longer operationally effective. Functionally, Russia's Black Sea Fleet is combat ineffective. The strategic implications. Before the war, Russia's Black Sea Fleet controlled maritime access to Ukraine. They blockaded ports, prevented grain shipments, threatened coastal cities. Today, Ukraine controls the western Black Sea. Ukrainian grain shipments resume. Commercial ships transit safely. Russia can't enforce a blockade. Ukrainian sea drones patrol the waters near Crimea. Russian ships don't venture close. The naval balance has flipped. This has massive economic implications. Ukraine is a major grain exporter. The Black Sea is the primary shipping route. Russia's blockade threatened global food supplies. By breaking Russia's naval dominance, Ukraine restored grain exports. This stabilized global food prices, prevented famine in Africa and the Middle East. A naval victory with global humanitarian consequences. How did Ukraine do it? Asymmetric warfare. Attack the enemy's weaknesses, avoid their strengths. Russia had more ships, bigger guns, better sensors. But Ukraine had mobility, innovation, willingness to take risks. Neptune missiles from hidden coastal batteries. Russia couldn't find the launchers, couldn't suppress them. Sea drones built for $250,000. Even if Russia destroyed 9 out of 10, the 10th one hit a ship worth $300 million. The math favored Ukraine. Storm Shadow missiles provided by allies. Long-range precision strike. Hitting ships in port where they're vulnerable. Ukraine never tried to fight Russia's navy head-to-head. They picked off ships one by one, made Sevastopol untenable, forced Russia to retreat. It's a masterclass in asymmetric naval warfare. Lessons for future conflicts. The Black Sea War proves that traditional naval dominance is no longer guaranteed. A country without a navy can still win at sea if they have the right weapons and tactics. Drones change everything. Cheap, expendable, effective. The U.S. Navy is watching closely. If Ukraine can sink Russian ships with drones, what happens when China deploys thousands of drones against U.S. carriers? The Black Sea is a preview of future naval warfare. Expensive warships are vulnerable to cheap, mass-produced drones. Naval bases are no longer safe. Precision strikes can hit ships in port. Blockades are difficult to enforce when the enemy has long-range anti-ship missiles. Every navy is rethinking doctrine. Russia's failures. Why did Russia lose so badly? Underestimating Ukraine. Russia assumed Ukrainian defenses would collapse. They didn't plan for sustained resistance. Poor intelligence. Russia didn't know where Ukrainian missile batteries were located, didn't anticipate sea drone development. Lack of adaptation. After Moskva, Russia should have withdrawn the fleet immediately and reassessed. Instead, they kept ships in Sevastopol. Ukraine kept hitting them. Inadequate defenses. Russian ships lacked effective point defense against sea-skimming missiles and drones. Their radar systems couldn't track low-altitude threats. Corruption and poor training. Reports suggest Moskva's crew wasn't properly trained. Damage control was inadequate. Equipment didn't work as designed. These failures compounded. Each loss made the fleet more cautious. Each withdrawal reduced operational capability. Russia's Black Sea Fleet became trapped in a defensive posture, unable to project power, unable to protect itself. The technology behind Ukrainian success. Neptune missiles. Ukrainian engineers designed these based on Soviet-era Ka-35 missiles. They improved the guidance system, extended the range. These missiles gave Ukraine the ability to strike Russian ships from over the horizon. Sea drones, the real innovation. Ukraine used commercial drone technology, high-speed boat hulls, jet ski engines, remote control systems from civilian drones. Add a warhead, add cameras for guidance, you have a weapon. The drones are semi-autonomous. Operators control them from hundreds of miles away via satellite link. In the final approach, the drone uses onboard cameras and AI to navigate. Russia tried jamming the control signals. Ukraine added autonomous navigation. The drone completes the mission even if communications are lost. This is garage engineering defeating a professional military. Storm Shadow and Scalp missiles. These are Western weapons. Britain and France supplied them to Ukraine. They're cruise missiles with stealth features and precision guidance. Ukraine uses them to hit high-value targets deep behind enemy lines. Sevastopol is 250 miles from Ukrainian-controlled territory. Storm Shadow can reach it. Russia has limited defenses against these missiles. S-400 systems can intercept some, but saturation attacks overwhelm defenses. Ukraine doesn't need a 100% success rate. One missile hitting a submarine in dry dock is a strategic victory. The human element. Behind every successful strike is Ukrainian intelligence. tracking Russian ship movements, identifying vulnerabilities, planning attacks. Ukrainian Special Operations Forces operate behind enemy lines in Crimea. They provide targeting data, sabotage Russian defenses. Ukrainian naval officers, many trained on Soviet-era ships, understand Russian tactics. They know how Russian crews think. They exploit weaknesses. This is insider knowledge turned into a weapon. And there's motivation. Ukraine is fighting for survival. Russia is fighting a war of choice. That difference in motivation shows in operational effectiveness. Russian morale is low. Crews don't want to patrol waters where drones might attack. Ships stay in port. Ukrainian operators are highly motivated. Every ship they sink is a victory. Every successful drone strike is celebrated. Morale matters in war. What's next for Russia's Black Sea Fleet? The fleet is relocating to Novorossiysk. It's farther from Ukrainian-controlled territory, harder for Ukraine to strike. But Novorossiysk has limited port capacity, not enough dry docks, insufficient repair facilities. Russia can't fully operate the fleet from there. Some ships remain in Sevastopol, but they rarely leave port. The base is under constant threat. Russia's navy is effectively bottled up. In 2025, the Black Sea Fleet is a shell of its former self. It can't support ground operations, can't enforce a blockade, can't project power. Ukraine won the naval war without having a navy. The broader implications. This changes naval strategy worldwide. Small nations can now contest larger navies. You don't need aircraft carriers and destroyers. You need missiles and drones. Taiwan is watching. If Ukraine can hold off Russia at sea, Taiwan can hold off China. Iran is watching. Swarm tactics with cheap drones and missiles can threaten U.S. carrier groups. The era of unchallenged naval dominance is ending. Future navies will need new defenses, better point defense systems, counter-drone technologies, distributed operations to reduce vulnerability. The Black Sea War is a laboratory. Every tactic tested here will be studied and copied. The final scorecard. Russia started with 80-plus warships in the Black Sea. Today, over 40 are sunk, damaged, or withdrawn. The flagship is gone. 2 submarines destroyed. Multiple landing ships sunk. Sevastopol abandoned as a forward operating base. Ukraine achieved this with Neptune missiles, sea drones, and Allied cruise missiles. No navy, no destroyers, no carriers. Just innovation, determination, and asymmetric tactics. This is the most successful anti-naval campaign since World War II. And it's not over. Ukraine continues developing new drones, longer range, bigger warheads, more autonomy. Russia's Black Sea Fleet remains under threat. The naval balance in the Black Sea has permanently shifted. Russia will never again dominate these waters. Ukraine proved that modern naval warfare isn't about who has the most ships. It's about who adapts fastest. And Ukraine adapted while Russia sank. The tactical evolution of Ukrainian sea drones. The first generation was crude, modified jet skis with explosives strapped on. Range, maybe 50 miles. Speed, 40 knots. Payload, 200 pounds. They worked, but barely. Russian patrol boats could intercept them. Small arms fire could disable them. They were vulnerable. Ukraine learned from each failure. Second-generation drones appeared in late 2022, purpose-built hulls. Faster engines, 60 knots. Range extended to 400 miles. Larger warheads, 400 to 800 pounds of explosives, enough to cripple a frigate. Improved stealth, low profile, minimal radar signature, painted to blend with ocean surface. Better navigation, GPS plus inertial guidance, autonomous terminal attack phase. These drones started scoring consistent hits. Third-generation drones emerged in 2024. Even more capable. Speed, 80-plus knots, faster than most Russian patrol boats. Range, 600-plus miles, can launch from Ukrainian-controlled ports and strike anywhere in the Black Sea. Advanced AI, the drone can identify ship types, select impact points, evade defensive fire. Some models carry cameras streaming live video. Operators watch the final approach in real time. Saturation capability. Ukraine can launch swarms of 10-plus drones in coordinated attacks. Russian defenses can't engage all of them. This rapid evolution reflects Ukraine's strategic approach. Iterate quickly, learn from combat, improve constantly. Russia's Navy couldn't keep pace. The economics of asymmetric warfare. Let's run the numbers. A Ukrainian sea drone costs approximately $250,000 to build. Complex versions with AI guidance might cost $500,000. A Russian frigate costs $300 million. A corvette costs $150 million. A submarine costs $500 million. If Ukraine launches 10 drones at $250,000 each, total cost $2.5 million. Even if 9 drones are intercepted and 1 hits the target, sinking a $300 million frigate, Ukraine wins the trade. $2.5 million spent, $300 million destroyed. That's a 120-to-1 return on investment. Russia can't sustain this attrition. Ukraine can. This economic asymmetry is why Ukraine won the naval war. Every Russian ship sunk is irreplaceable. Russia can't build new warships fast enough to replace losses, especially not under sanctions. Every Ukrainian drone lost is easily replaced. Build more, launch more, repeat. The math is brutal for Russia. The Neptune missile program. Ukraine inherited Soviet-era anti-ship missiles after independence, but they were outdated. Short range, limited capability. Ukrainian defense engineers started developing Neptune in 2014 after Russia annexed Crimea. The design is based on the Soviet Kh-35 Uran missile, but heavily modified. Improvements include extended range from 130 kilometers to 300 kilometers, better radar seeker, improved resistance to electronic warfare, mobile truck launchers for survivability. Development took 6 years. The first operational Neptune battery was ready in early 2021. Timing was perfect, 1 year before the invasion. Ukraine produced approximately 100 Neptune missiles before the war. Not a huge stockpile, but enough. Each Neptune costs about $1 million. Expensive compared to drones, but proven effective. Moskva's sinking validated the entire program. After that success, Ukraine accelerated production, Western components, Allied assistance. By 2024, production rate increased to several dozen missiles per year. Neptune batteries operate from mobile launchers, trucks, hidden in forests, moved constantly to avoid Russian strikes. This mobility is critical. Russia knows Ukraine has Neptune. They can't find them. Static coastal defense batteries would be destroyed immediately. Mobile batteries survive. Ukraine also developed air-launched and ship-launched variants of Neptune. Though without a navy, the ship-launched version is less relevant. The air-launched version could be mounted on Ukrainian Su-24 bombers, extending the missile's effective range even further. Neptune is Ukraine's premier anti-ship weapon, and it works. The Storm Shadow impact. In 2023, Britain supplied Storm Shadow cruise missiles to Ukraine. France provided Scalp, an identical missile with a different name. These are serious weapons. Range, 250-plus miles. Stealth design, precision guidance. Originally designed to strike hardened bunkers and command centers, Ukraine adapted them for anti-ship missions. Storm Shadow can't hit moving ships effectively. It's designed for static targets. But ships in port, perfect targets. Sevastopol shipyard, repair docks, submarines and maintenance. All stationary, all vulnerable. Ukraine used Storm Shadow to devastate Sevastopol's naval infrastructure. September 2023 strike. 2 Storm Shadow missiles hit the dry dock complex. Rostov-on-Don submarine destroyed. Minsk submarine heavily damaged. The dry dock itself wrecked. Russia lost months of repair capacity in one strike. Follow-up strikes hit ammunition depots, fuel storage, and command facilities. Sevastopol became untenable as a naval base. Each Storm Shadow missile costs approximately $2.5 million. Expensive, but destroying a $500 million submarine in dry dock? Worth it? Western weapons transformed Ukraine's capabilities. Neptune missiles started the naval campaign. Storm Shadow finished it. Russia's failed countermeasures. Russia tried to defend against Ukrainian attacks. They failed repeatedly. Anti-drone nets and barriers in Sevastopol harbor. Ukrainian drones navigated around them or rammed through. Patrol boats to intercept drones. Ukrainian drones were faster. engaged at night when visibility was poor. Electronic warfare to jam drone control signals. Ukraine added autonomous navigation. Drones completed missions without live control. S-400 air defense systems to intercept Storm Shadow missiles. Some interceptions succeeded, but saturation attacks overwhelmed the defenses. Relocating the fleet to Novorossiysk, farther from Ukraine, but limited port capacity and repair facilities. Russia also deployed dolphins, trained marine mammals to detect underwater threats. It sounds absurd, but Russia actually deployed combat dolphins in Sevastopol. Ukrainian drones operate on the surface, not underwater. The dolphins were useless. Russia's countermeasures were reactive, always responding to Ukraine's last tactic, never anticipating the next innovation. Ukraine stayed ahead of the curve. The intelligence war. Ukraine's strikes weren't random. They were precisely targeted. Ukrainian intelligence services tracked Russian ship movements. Satellite imagery, human sources in Crimea, electronic signals, intelligence. Every ship entering Sevastopol was catalogued, position, type, status. When a high-value target appeared, Ukraine struck. Western intelligence agencies assisted. The U.S. provided satellite data. Britain shared signals intelligence. This intelligence fusion gave Ukraine near real-time awareness of Russian naval dispositions. Russia tried to hide ships, move them between ports, used decoys. Ukrainian intelligence tracked them anyway. The result? Ukrainian strikes hit the right targets at the right time. Precision targeting maximizes effectiveness. No wasted missiles, no wasted drones. Intelligence wins wars. The propaganda dimension. Every Russian ship sunk was a propaganda victory for Ukraine. Videos of sea drone strikes went viral. Moskva's sinking was international news. Each success boosted Ukrainian morale, proved Ukraine could fight back, showed Russia wasn't invincible. Conversely, each loss humiliated Russia. The mighty Russian Navy, defeated by glorified jet skis with explosives. Russian state media tried to spin the losses, claimed ships were old and due for retirement anyway. Downplayed the damage. But the evidence was undeniable. Satellite imagery showed wrecked ships, burning facilities, empty docks. The propaganda war amplified the military impact. Allies saw Ukraine's success and increased support. More weapons, more funding. Russia's allies questioned Russian military competence. Perception matters in geopolitics. Ukraine won the perception battle. The international legal dimension. Naval warfare in the Black Sea raised legal questions. Is attacking a ship in port a legitimate military action? Yes, under international law. Are sea drones legal weapons? Yes, no treaty bans them. Did Ukraine violate any conventions? No. Russia invaded Ukraine. Ukraine has the right to defend itself by all available means. Russia complained to the UN, claimed Ukrainian strikes were terrorism. The international community disagreed. These are military targets in a war zone, legitimate warfare. Russia's complaints fell flat. Ukraine operated within the laws of armed conflict. Russia, the aggressor, had no legal standing to protest. This legal clarity allowed Western nations to continue supporting Ukraine without international backlash. The future of naval warfare. The Black Sea War is a case study. Future conflicts will reference it extensively. Key lessons. 1. Cheap drones can defeat expensive warships. Modern navies rely on billion-dollar destroyers and cruisers. A swarm of cheap drones can overwhelm defenses. This changes the cost calculus of naval power. Building a huge navy is no longer guaranteed superiority. 2. Naval bases are vulnerable to precision strikes. Ships in port used to be safe. Not anymore. Long-range cruise missiles can hit any coastal base. Ships must disperse. Use multiple ports. Stay mobile. 3. Electronic warfare and AI are critical. Drones with AI navigation can't be jammed. Autonomous systems operate without human control. Navies need better electronic warfare capabilities and better AI defenses. 4. Asymmetric tactics work. Ukraine had no navy. They still won at sea. Smaller nations can contest larger powers using missiles, drones, and creative tactics. This democratizes naval warfare. You don't need carriers to win. Every navy is studying Ukraine's tactics. The U.S. Navy is developing counter-drone systems, testing AI-guided interceptors, reevaluating ship defenses. China is mass-producing sea drones, learning from Ukraine's success. Iran is already using swarm drones in the Persian Gulf. The Black Sea War changed naval doctrine globally. The human cost. Behind the statistics are people. Hundreds of Russian sailors died. Moskva alone had 510 crew. Some survived. Many didn't. Ukrainian drone operators watched men die through their cameras. This is war. It's brutal. Necessary, but brutal. Every ship sunk represents lives lost, families destroyed. Ukraine didn't choose this war. Russia invaded. Ukraine defended. But the human cost is real on both sides. The strategic outcome. Russia's Black Sea Fleet is broken. They can't enforce a blockade, can't support ground operations, can't project power. Sevastopol, Russia's premier naval base, is under constant threat. Ukraine controls the western Black Sea. Grain shipments resume, commercial traffic operates safely. Russia's invasion failed to achieve naval objectives. Ukraine won the Black Sea War, not with a navy, with ingenuity, determination, and asymmetric tactics. This victory has global implications. It proves that modern naval power isn't just about ship count. It's about innovation, intelligence, and willingness to take risks. Ukraine rewrote the rules of naval warfare, and Russia's Black Sea Fleet paid the price. Over 40 ships, billions of dollars, strategic defeat. The Black Sea is no longer Russia's lake. Ukraine made sure of that. One drone at a time,